Hello and welcome to this
Hi.
Tuesday's Traveling Young. As you can see, this isn't our living room.
No, we're on the road somewhere.
Yeah. By the time you see this, we'll be back at home.
Yes.
But at the moment,
Yeah.
while we're recording it, we're actually just outside of Stockholm.
Yeah, soaking in the summer sun.
Yeah, it's
and
just right over
enjoying
there.
the weather. Yeah, it is absolutely gorgeous here. It's very relaxing.
Yeah.
Hanging out in our chairs, having a good time.
And as we're doing this, because what we decided to do, actually, both our companies have offices here in Stockholm. So we decided we would just drive with Brisket and spend a week working from Stockholm.
Yep, we both have business here, so,
Why not?
why not?
So here we are. But in this, part of the reason for doing this and doing it now is the summer. And we thought it'd be interesting to talk about the summer and some differences in summers that we've gotten to experience since we've moved to Scandinavia.
Yeah.
And number one is the daylight.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do complain about, the dark and the cold and the wet in the winter, but the flip side of that is these amazing summers where we get, what is it, like 18 hours of sunlight, 16 hours of sunlight?
And in
Something
Stockholm,
ridiculous.
it's even more. So right now it's 8:15.
Yeah.
It's so bright I could still put a filter on my camera. And so we thought, since it's common to complain about the rain and the darkness, we would compliment and be excited about the flip side, which is right now a gorgeous day in Stockholm and tons of sunlight.
Yep.
So we've got our sleep masks with us, and that's been a big adjustment. Super great to have all those hours after work. But it makes it tough to sleep sometimes because it seems like it's always bright.
And you do lose track of time. I lose track of time all the time because it's a very fast transition from, it getting dark early to being light for a really long time. And so I totally lose track of time. It'll be like 9 o'clock and I have no idea that it's that late.
And where we lived in Chicago, isn't it like, where it is on the, on the earth? Is similar to Spain.
Even with, Spain and Paris. So you don't realize how far north we are until you start looking at a map, because Denmark is more like Newfoundland, Canada. Like, it's really far north.
Yeah, so we never
feel like it.
experienced this amount of sunlight in the U.S. So that's number one. The next thing is, because we're living in Europe and have Danish holiday time, we get to actually really enjoy summer. So back in the day that we lived, many days, we lived in the U.S., we worked up to maybe 2 weeks. And we'd take maybe a 2-week trip in the summer. And that was like the whole summer. Yeah. It was 1 2-week trip. And, in Denmark, a lot of people take time off at the same time.
Yeah.
So there's just no productivity during that period of time.
But
basically.
It's kind of nice because everybody is off at that time. Like, everybody knows that, it's going to be really light and slow, and everybody's okay with that.
Yeah, but in the U.S., because people take time off at different times, and maybe 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, things are always running.
Yeah.
There's no break, which makes it hard to enjoy your holiday because you might still have to do a call or pay attention to work. It's hard to totally disconnect. Much easier to disconnect in Denmark because nobody's really working when you're off.
No,
and so there's no emails and meetings and any of that stuff going on.
And everybody respects your time. That's just a given. July's the time to take off.
Especially because they respect their time.
Well, yeah,
and they're also not working.
Exactly.
So that all helps a collective group of people off work.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, Maya, her summers are actually a little shorter here.
Yeah,
than they were in the U.S. actually. When she was for example, her friends were graduating, in late May. Yeah. In the U.S. and not in school anymore. And in Denmark, she's still got, it's not as heavy, but she's got exams that she's studying for another couple weeks.
Yeah, and then they go back in August, I think. So comparably,
second week of August.
Yeah, so comparably, they have less time in the summer. But they get more time off during the year than they did in the U.S., I feel like, because they get a fall break and a winter break and a, Easter break and Christmas break. And so there's a lot more breaks in there for them.
Yeah, when I grew up, we had basically Thanksgiving weekend. We had a couple random 3-day weekends.
Yeah.
And then we had Thanksgiving, which was only 4 days. And then we had Christmas, which was usually a week or a tad more than a week, depending on when it fell.
Yeah.
And then we had a spring break week. And then
that was it.
basically Memorial Day was while we were still in school. And then, and that was it. And so there were these, it's like, here there's like those weeks, like week 7, week 42. Christmas break is longer. There's just more time off in school throughout the year.
Yeah. Yep. And I think I will add, summers here are quite a bit different than they are even in Chicago, as far north as Chicago was, because even Chicago would get just boiling hot in the summertime. And you can see it's summer and we're still wearing our coats. So I rather like that. I like the fact that it doesn't get just oppressively hot here in the summertime. So I think that that's actually a benefit to me.
Make sure that bird doesn't fly and poop on us.
No, right?
There's a lot of birds over here right now. This is a really cool place. It's like the water is right in front of us, behind you.
Yeah.
A big cruise ship just went by.
It was massive.
And it's so neat because we can take the ferry to the office. And it's just neat for a week to be taking a ferry
it's
from
so
here. It's like a 25-minute ferry to downtown Stockholm. Anyway, sidetrack. One thing that's similar, I think, by the way, we didn't discuss or prep any of this at all. So what I'm about to say, she doesn't know I'm going to say.
No.
Something that's similar between here and Chicago, I think, is like the city changes.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
the weather is so different in the summer versus the winter. Just like Chicago, it's like a totally different city in Copenhagen or anywhere in Denmark. Yeah, like during the winter, they're like indoor activities. Nobody wants to be outside because it's cold or dark. And then in the summer, everybody's outside. Yeah. It's like and I always liked that about Chicago because all the other places I lived, I felt like the differences were kind of subtle. It was more like more people were like, more tourists were around in DC in the summer. But otherwise, it didn't feel that different, but Chicago feels like
it just came
totally
alive.
Different city, and that's exactly what it feels like in Denmark. Everybody is desperate to get outside.
Any kind of sunshine, especially on a sunny day. I mean, in Chicago, people would be lining the river like they do the harbor in Copenhagen. So
so I really like that part of being the same. It's very similar.
Yeah.
And now it's like a new city for the next few months.
It is.
So do you have anything? I've been saying a bunch of stuff. Have you thought about it? I'm going to put you on the spot. Briscuit's looking at this little birdie over here that nobody can see.
I love the fact that, like I said, that it doesn't get really hot. I do not like the heat at all. So I like the fact that it's really beautiful and sunny and nice, but it's not oppressively hot. I also love, like, for so much of the winter, it's really quiet. And then it's just this very short span of time when all of the birds come back. And like you just open up the door and it's like birds chirping everywhere all the time.
All over our backyard. It's the English name of the blue.
And it's funny because we have a cuckoo that lives near us, and
it sounds exactly like a cuckoo.
And it sounds like a cuckoo. Like I told a friend of mine, I was like, "There's a cuckoo that lives in a tree next to our house," and she was like, "I didn't even know those were real." So, I mean, it's just so interesting and relaxing, and I really, really love the summers here.
Yeah, being able to sit outside and grill and relax and stuff. Yeah, for hours. The big problem I have with the late thing is we'll sit outside or I'll be in the city with friends, and usually the daylight is your gauge of how late
don't do that.
Mind, it plays tricks on you. Before you know it, it's like, wait a second, it's 10 o'clock and I got to work tomorrow. I better get home.
I remember
you lose track of it all.
One time I mowed the lawn. And I came in and you were like, "What were you doing?" I was like, "I mowed the lawn." He was like, "It's 9:30 at night." I had no idea.
That is an adjustment, but it's a good thing. It's so neat to be outside and enjoy it so much.
It's beautiful.
So, I'm sure there's a whole lot of other things, but it has been a little different summers for us since we moved.
Cold school season. It's cold school season.
Sure, there's none of that in America. I don't know. It would be baseball.
Yeah, there you go.
I'd be at baseball games all the time, having lemonade and ice cream and hot dogs at baseball games. But
we were just thinking about it. And
because we've been having fun here, like relaxing, enjoying. Part of why we came here is to get all the extra sun in Stockholm. And we obviously get all that when we're back home in Denmark as well. Yeah. And there you have it. So summers, a bit of an adjustment, but all for the better.
Yes, so much better.
All for the better. So There you go. That's it for this week's Traveling Young. And we've got some videos from Stockholm that will be up eventually. But this is where we start the Swedish videos.
Yeah, this is where we start. This is where we're finishing our day, but where we start our Swedish videos.
All righty. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.